Time to do a review for my favorite show, The 100. And this would be a review of tonight's episode, which would be Season 3, Episode 4, entitled Watch the Thrones. Well, even though I did love tonight's episode, there's a lot of stuff that kind of made me go, huh? Kind of what the, WTF. Anyway, we had three basic storylines. You had what was going on in Polis, what was going on in Arcadia, and Jasper and Molly out in the woods. So, for starters, we'll look at the first storyline, what was going on in Polis, with Clark, Lexa, Rowan, and the Ice Queen. Now, the episode starts out in Polis, where we see the Ice Queen is being brought before the commander, and she's in chains, the Ice Queen, that is. And I was thinking that this is something that we were seeing in the future. It's like 2-3 weeks later, and then the episode was going to go backtrack to explain how that happened, right? But that wasn't the case. Apparently, the Ice Queen got captured either a day or 2 days after, they blew up Mount Weather. And I was kind of like, well, that was kind of quick. I thought, the Ice Queen had this huge, giant army that was on the march, and that, it would have been war if Lexus moved against her, right? But no, they just caught her, brought her before trial, and the Ice Queen pulls this, let's have a vote of no confidence. Some of the other ambassadors from the various tribes stand up to back her up. And then Lexa says, no, that's not how we're going to do this. You want to take me out, we're going to do a fight by combat. So Ice Queen picks her badass son to be a champion, and Lexa decides she's going to fight, to keep her crown herself. And as this plays out, Clark is worried that Lexa won't be able to beat Rowan because he's such a badass. So she tries to convince Rowan to kill the Ice Queen, and then Rowan tells her, no, she should do it. So Clark tries to trick the Ice Queen into taking a blood oath where Clark has poison on her sleeve, so when she hands the knife to the Ice Queen, and she had, cut up in her own hand with it, she was going to die. But the Ice Queen had this Grounder girl as a bodyguard, and she stops Clark, and it turns out that this girl, Ontario, is a night blood. She's got black blood, and like Alexis apparently also has black blood. I thought that was interesting. I guess it's some sort of something new, like when they had the nuclear war, people started developing black blood and they were made commanders. So then they come to the day of the big fight between Lexus and Rowan, and it kind of, it felt like, like the Viper and the Mountain when they fought in Game of Thrones. In fact, this episode is called Watch the Thrones. So anyway, the two of them fight, and I'm thinking that Lexus is going to lose because Rowan's a new character who, they just brought out, and he feels like an interesting one that we're going to see more of. So I thought it was too early to kill him off. And the girl who plays Lexus, well, she's working on Fear of the Walking Dead, so she's already got a gig lined up, so, I think they're going to Tasha Yar her off, right? So they fight back and forth, and there's some badass fighting scenes, mind you, and then Lexa eventually gets the overhand. It seems like she's about to kill Rowan, and then she goes, what the hell, throws a spear at the Ice Queen, straight up kills her. Cool? Yes. Did I see it coming? Not to the very last minute. It was like, wait, she's not going to kill him? Because I could sort of see where she was going, oh, yeah, here it comes. But even that, it was kind of surprising because it's like, what? Why did you introduce this character, the Ice Queen, that you've set up since, the last season, but you don't see her. And then you see her for a brief second in, the last episode, and this one we get an introduction, but you just kill her off. It's like, what was the point of that? I thought the Ice Queen was going to be far more important this season, but nope. Which is the same because they had Brenda Strong player, and Brenda Strong is a very good character actor. You've seen her in Starship Troopers, and she was the voice on Desperate Housewives. Like, she played the one housewife who killed herself in the first episode, and then everything after that, she's like the narrator. Kind of a waste, but now I'm wondering how the rest of this season's going to play out without the Ice Queen. We'll have to watch for that. Okay, moving on to what happened now. So we're back to Arcadia, and mind you, last week a lot of people got killed at Mount Weather from the farm station, the one station that landed in the Ice Nation and was getting killed off by them for months on end. And they're led by Pike, who used to be a school teacher, but now he's like this super bigot who wants nothing but war. Well, there's some infighting in Arcadia where they don't trust Lincoln because he's a grounder, and they had a memorial for all the people that died, and it ends into a riot. Some guy who lost his son in the explosion, throws a rock and whacks Lincoln in the head, and Pike's being all anti-grounder-ish and whatnot. And then later he tries to convince Bellamy to get him some guns so they can go attack this army of grounders, which is out in the woods, who has like 300 people who was put there to protect them from the Ice Nation. But Pike doesn't care. He says none of them got any guns, so we can take them. And as he's leading the way out the gate, they're stopped by Kane and Abby, and Pike is in his group. They're all arrested. And before that happens, one of my favorite scenes was like one guy who hit Lincoln with a rock. He tries to, put a gun in Lincoln's head, and Lincoln's like, grabs it, grabs the guy in the headlock, puts a knife through his throat, and Monty's mother's like, "Oh, so much for the good ground." It's like, oh, fuck off. You put a gun in the guy's head, and he got his ass handed to him. Get over it. But anyway, as Pike's being led away, someone says, "Oh, you ought to be the chancellor," because they've got this election going on, and Kane's, one of the main candidates, and all of a sudden people want to vote for Pike. He's Trump, apparently. He can try to lead an armed coup, but no one has a problem with that. And it's like, he has this terrible plan that will get them all wiped out. They want to go to war with the grounders, but they don't have the numbers for that. It seems like every other episode, the population of the Ark, now, Arcadia, just keeps dropping. They just keep losing people left and right, and it's like there's no telling how many grounders are. We saw, this Ice Nation army that seemed just like hundreds deep. And last season we saw the armies of the 12 tribes, and there were thousands of them, and it's like, who do you really think's going to win that? But people want to vote for Pike. Like I said, he's like Trump. And at the end of it, Marcus Kane, he walks up to Pike, and they open the cell doors and says, "You won the election." I'm like, what? Really? They had the election the next day? The fact that Pike won was not that surprising, but the fact that they had the election the next day and that Abby and Marcus didn't try to, I don't know, rig it so, Pike would lose, or exile the people really quick, or maybe cause an accident where they all die. It's like they didn't think to do anything like that. I mean, come on now. You're saying, oh, they wouldn't do that. No, they do shit like that all the time. The society on the Ark had things like, you break the slightest little law, you get thrown out the airlock. And then one, like Marcus's big plan to, save some air was to kill 300 people at one point. It's like, how are they gonna, let this Pike wins the election thing slide? It didn't make any sense. And I thought when he was telling Pike he's the chancellor and they're all walking out, there was going to be an ambush or something. And that's why he stopped Bellamy. He's like, you got one last chance to get on the right side. Don't walk out the door. But, no, it looks like Pike's now going to be the leader of the Ark people. And it's like, I hope they let Lincoln and Olivia leave. It's like, okay, he just won. You guys need to leave. Take off now. We'll see how that plays out in the next episode. But And like I said, it was like... And now we come to the storyline I did not like. Moody Jasper going off into the woods, and Monty following him. I mean, one of the things that gets me is how, like, they had this whole, Arcadia is this, basically, it's this giant wall, and they put a hole into it, and, drill a hole into it, and they take off. It's like, wow, do you ever think that maybe with all the people outside the wall who want to kill you, but maybe you should secure that thing after you leave? Like, one of you stays behind and makes sure that there isn't a hole that your enemies can get through. They do that so much, and it's like... Anyway, like I said, Jasper's been moody this whole season because he lost his girlfriend last season. Alright, we get it, but it's something like... Where are they going with this story? It's just... Is that what he's going to be all season? Just... And he's getting drunk, and they go off to Mount Weather, and apparently he had the ashes of Finn, and Monty's like, I don't want to be your friend anymore. And Jasper's like, I don't care, drink, drink, drink. And it's like, oh. You know what? I don't see how they're going to bring Jasper back. I think they're going to fit him out like Finn last year, where he suddenly turned into a psycho and killed some people, and he died. And I think that's the same thing going to happen to Jasper here. Like I said, I'm sick of moody Jasper. And I want Monty to have a storyline of his own. I mean, give the guy something. It's like he's Jasper's best friend. He wants to, help his moody best friend. It's like, no. His mother is gone all militia-like. And maybe he doesn't want to do that. Maybe that's a storyline. Maybe a romance with him and Monroe. That's who I want to ship. I want to ship Monty and Monroe. And we'll call it... Monty. Or maybe Harper. Or all three of them. Or something. Something for Monty. Okay? Besides, he's Jasper's friend. Maybe he discovers a gold mine. He becomes a prospector this season. Something for Monty. That's all I'm asking you, 100. And that's what I thought of tonight's episode.